right, we made it to episode 51 at the Homestead Shop Talk podcast with Al from Lemon Acres, Ben from Holler Homestead, and myself, Jason from Sow the Land. And if you're new to the podcast, it looked like we got some new subscribers on our YouTube channel, but if you're new, it's just kind of like a behind the scenes, I guess, of after show of our YouTube. I guess sometimes it turns into that of our YouTube channel. And we just kind of like, it's like we're just hanging out at the shop and we're just talking about our week and, what's going on and what we just did this week and maybe what videos we put out. And so I appreciate everyone tuning in and listening. But how have you guys been this week?
Been a good, busy week.
Always.
Can't complain. Pretty much the same for me. It's been kind of a busy week. Busy and slow at the same time. We haven't been putting out as many videos, but it's like we're filling up our supposed free time with everything else, and so there's been a lot of stuff going on.
It's kind of refreshing when you don't have to pump out the videos, every day.
It kind of is, but it's kind of not. I feel like I'm playing hooky. It just, I don't know. I guess I'm starting to feel guilty. It's like, hey, like maybe I need to just like pick up the camera and just carry it around with me and just do the thing anyways, even if it doesn't make it to YouTube, because I'm starting to feel kind of guilty.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. I was like, I should be filming, or I feel like I should be doing more. Like I'm not doing enough.
Yep. Now, do you still feel that way even when you're doing YouTube stuff? Like, man, like I'm just creating content. Like I'm not doing a regular 9 to 5. Like
I still feel that way.
Sometimes it's like, wait a minute, this isn't a normal. I'm not doing a real job kind of thing.
Yes.
My friend Casey told me that I'm a jobless loser because I don't have a quote unquote job, and so that's been our running joke. Is we're just jobless losers. We don't have a job that we have to go to. We just do this thing. People raise their eyebrows when you tell them you're a jobless loser, though.
Yeah.
Yep.
Heck yeah, man. It's all fun. So how you been, Al? With you getting more steers or another bull?
We didn't get another bull yet. We're looking into things because George ended up being like the perfect bull. Like he was A2 and he had everything we wanted. So now we're trying to see if we can find another one before we just jump in.
Yeah.
So we're still, I don't know. It's still been a hard couple of weeks just dealing with all that.
Right.
Not easy for sure.
That's like what you call a devastating loss.
The jewel, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think we're still definitely recouping from that one. It's like, oh,
I know. Probably never gonna forget that either.
No, probably not. And then right after that, I went into doing a fun project. I planned on starting at the day we found George. I planned on starting putting in our water lines. So that's what I did the next day. And I wish I wouldn't have known how easy yours went for you, Jason.
It ruined you? It ruined it?
Well, I'm like, what did you say? It took them an hour to trench 300 feet?
Yeah, it was an hour.
How much time did you have involved when you did all your stuff and backfilling and everything?
What?
Like for you to put in your water lines and for you to put in your hydrants and then for you to backfill, how many hours did you guys have involved, you think?
I mean, it wasn't much. It was, I could have done the whole thing in a day.
How much time do you think?
Altogether, it was, I don't know, let's see, an hour. I don't know. Altogether, I'm guessing maybe five hours.
How much time do you think I had? How many hydrants did you do? I did 500. I did 500 feet of water line, and we did 5 hydrants.
We did 3.
You did 3. Okay, so you still did a good amount, and you did 3. So you did like one every 100 feet, basically.
Yeah.
Say.
Yeah.
So we did 5 and 500. What do you think we had?
2 days?
No, we had like 60 hours.
Oh, 60 hours.
Yeah, and a giant boulder field
days.
that you dug up.
Yeah, I got like 3, probably 10-wheeler dump truck loads of rocks that I had to pick up. And now I'm waiting on a load of topsoil to get delivered so I can fill in what has sunk from removing all the big old boulders.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Don't watch
I saw that
videos.
video. Man, like I don't think I'll ever gripe about the rocks in our soil again until I saw you dig that trench. I was like, whoa, he's not lying about rocky soil.
No.
Yeah.
Not one bit.
Wow. What'd you do with all the rocks?
Piled them up. Someday it'd be nice to get like a rock crusher, and I don't know if I ever will, but I just like, what else did you do with them? I just found a place that's off the side of the road that's not really great land unless we like fill it with something to smooth it out to grow pasture. So we got a huge pile of rocks now.
Wow.
Man, honestly, I would kill for big boulders like that. That would be a useful building material around here.
Right. I'm so sick of rocks, I don't want to build with them.
You're going to have to go over there and pick them up.
Right.
Free rocks.
Free rocks. Yeah. So I'm trying to think. So I think it was 6 days of digging and backfilling, like digging the trench. I think it was 2 days of maybe 3 days of digging the trench. And then 3 days-ish of putting in water lines and backfilling. And then at least 2 days of picking up rocks. Like just picking them up and then loading them in the bucket of the tractor and then driving them away.
Dude, no, I had it easy, I guess.
Yeah, but when I turned the water on, that felt good.
Yeah, what did you end up doing for pipe?
I did 1.25 inch, the black PVC roll, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, okay, the poly pipe.
The poly pipe. Yep. Yeah. I asked the guy at the plumbing supply store about doing PEX, and he's like, I would just stick with the black poly. That's what everybody does. He goes, we don't have the 1.25 inch PEX in stock either. So
I've never seen PEX that big.
They do make it because we had to use that when we put our boiler in, and it's a pain to get. You got to order it, and then dealing with the fittings and stuff, it's a pain. But
was that $8,
okay.
$10
a quarter on the PEX probably.
I mean, 1.25 inch because you were doing 500 feet and it was a long distance.
1.25 inch, that's what they do around here mostly for water line. But the reason I went that size is because we're all gravity fed. There's no pump or anything. So I wanted to get more flow, I guess.
Okay.
So
how deep would you go?
We're between 4 to 5 feet deep in ground.
Dang, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big trench.
Yep.
Yeah, we were like maybe a foot.
Yep. I'm glad it's done. That was like, I don't know, one of those. So the first time we did it, I think 300 or 400 feet, and we did 3 hydrants. And that year it rained. So like it wouldn't rain when I was digging, but I'd dig a trench and then I'd come back and we'd have like a foot of water in the trench. And then I'd be dealing with slop. So I'd dig more of the trench and have to like drain it out. So that was a nightmare. And then having to fill it all back in, it was just slop. So last year we didn't put the water lines in because it was a wet year. And I had just like flashbacks of like dealing and digging like a muddy trench. I'm like, nope, I'm not doing that again. So this year we did it and it was dry, no rain, but
that's good.
Yeah, it wasn't fun.
That's what I was worried about too, of it starting to pour down and fill up the trench back up. And I'm like, oh, geez.
Yep, never any fun, but it's very gratifying when you go and turn the water on and you have it down at the barn. So we put one out to the barn where we used to keep the cows last winter. So if we ever have animals in that barn area again, we'll have water right to the tank. And then we did 2 out in pasture, and then we did 1 by the new barn for the livestock outside for the winter time. And then I did 1 in front of the barn towards the workshop. So that way we can use it by the workshops. Like I was able to power wash my truck for the first time down by the workshop, which was nice. So I'm just trying to like use all the water as much as I can right now. Cause I'm like, I just went through all this work. I got to like enjoy it while I can. Right. Make it seem more gratifying.
Taking showers out there.
Right. I'm like, man, I feel bad for somebody who does this for a living and is just doing it for somebody. Like, I couldn't imagine doing that job. Like, you'd be miserable. You'd go home at the end of the night. You'd just be in a bad mood. And all you get is a paycheck out of it. I mean, I didn't get a paycheck out of it, but I got running water. I'm like, okay, like, I get to use this every day kind of thing. I'm like, man, if this was just my job, like, it'd be miserable.
Breaking rocks all day.
Right.
That's good. At least you got it done.
Yep. We finally got our first batch of meat birds on pasture. So that feels good to get them outside.
And the new chicken tractors?
In the new chicken tractors, yep.
Cool. So how many?
We ended up putting out 70, was it? I think it was around 70, and we lost 1 the first night, and I don't know why. It was a big one. full, like he was one of the biggest ones, and it wasn't that cold that night. Wasn't like a predator or anything got him, so I was surprised by that. But
and is that all you're doing?
No, so we have a second batch of meat birds in the brooder right now. They should go out this week. They seem to be a little bit slower, like putting on the feathers, but I'll probably get them out maybe tomorrow or the next day. I'll get them out on pasture. Yeah. We're having turkeys come in. I think I got the shipping notification last night. So before the turkeys get in the brooder, I'll put the meat birds out on pasture. And then we went and picked up, this past weekend, we picked up our Idaho pasture piglets.
Ooh.
Nice.
How many?
We got 4. So we got 2 feeders, and 2 breeders, a boar and then a gilt for breeding.
Okay.
Pretty excited about that. They're super friendly. They're the friendliest pigs we've had so far.
Really?
Yeah. They remind me of like your cooney personalities. Like they'll just flop over on their side and they'll let you scratch their bellies.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
what are they in right now? You have them in pasture already?
No, we don't have them in pasture yet. Because I'm like, you know what? I don't know how big they're gonna be. We have a barn style we built for them for when we have the sow and she's having the babies in the wintertime. We want to have her in the barn. I'm like, you know what? I want to have them in the barn, and then I also want to have Brutus get used to them, our guardian livestock dog, because it'd be nice because they're small and I don't know how long they're gonna stay small for when they're out on pasture to have him with them. So I'm like, all right, let's get them kind of all trained to each other before we put them out on pasture. And we've been having some cold nights. It was like 47. I mean, it's not super cold, but it's not. I'm like, they're not, they're 8 weeks old, but they're smaller. You know how coonies are. I'd say they're probably bigger than your coonies, but they're not as big as what we normally get for 8-week-old piglets. Yeah. So it's kind of like some new learning opportunities.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested, question for you on the Idaho pasture pigs. She was saying that one of the things that they look for, especially for breeding stock, is they want the bottom lip to come up to the top of the snout or the bottom of the top snout. They want like the lip and the snout to meet. So that way, that's a characteristic that means they won't dig.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I thought so.
I imagine it's like other things because my pigs don't really root, but like, then you get another person that has a coonie. They're like, oh, my coonies root.
I wonder if it'd be interesting if somebody has a coonie that roots, does their bottom lip come up to the bottom of their snout? Like all 4 of them do. So she was saying that the ones that they sell for breeding stock, they have to make sure that the bottom lip touches the snout, and that's what keeps them from rooting. So I thought that was pretty interesing.
That is really interesting.
Yeah, I've never heard it before. Even looking into Idaho pasture pigs and research, and I never saw that. But that's what she was saying. So the Idaho pasture pigs are Duroc, Berkshire, and then Cooney cross.
Oh, really?
So that's the 3 breeds. Yep. So she said they'll get to market weight in 8 weeks if you feed them like free choice grain and pasture. If you are conservative on how much feed or grain, I should say grain you give them, then it takes them about 10 months to grow out.
You said 8 weeks, or did you mean 8 months?
I meant 8 months.
It's like, man, I got to get some pasture pigs. If they grow out in 8 weeks, that's like a meat bird.
If they grow out 8 weeks, that'd be pretty cool. And then she was saying that the lady we got them from, that the bone to meat ratio is a lot smaller versus like a regular heritage pig. So do you find that you get more meat to bones on like the coonies?
I don't know. I haven't butchered one yet.
Yeah, that's right. What about the guinea hogs? Have you found out, like, do you feel like there's less like the bones are less dense or less bigger than a regular?
I feel like they have pretty big bones for the size pig, but I mean, there's a couple different factors. Like, these pigs are 2 years old, so they've had longer to grow out.
Right.
But then the meat to fat ratio. So I don't know. I do feel like they kind of have big bones.
Yep.
Now, I will say the suckling pig we did, it had like a really good meat to bone ratio. It had really tiny bones because it was only a year old. So maybe that has some validity.
Yeah. So maybe maybe the IPPs only being 8 to 10 months old has something to do with it versus being, like you said, like 2 years.
So what are you going to do? You going to be conservative with their feed or free choice?
I'm not going to do free choice, but we'll feed them and we'll see we'll keep an eye on how much to feed them. But I don't want to do free choice because in the past we've done free choice. I almost feel like it doesn't make the pigs as friendly because you're not going out there all the time and feeding them.
Right.
It's been my experience.
It makes them grow quicker. But they're not as friendly with you, I feel like.
They also don't follow a bucket. You get them trained to a bucket if you're feeding them every day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So our pigs last year were, I don't know why, they would only eat grain. They would not eat food scraps, and they would not touch raw milk. You could put it in a dish and leave it out there, and they would, like, you could leave it out there for a week, and they wouldn't touch it. Like, I had the opportunity to buy that. Yeah, I had the opportunity to buy that sow, and at first I was like, yeah, I'm going to. Then after we had these pigs last year, I was like, nope. I'm like, I don't know. The lady said that she's never had that issue before.
That's weird.
But we tried feeding them food scraps right from the beginning. The only thing they would eat for food scraps was eggs. That was it. Not even raw milk. I was like, what? You won't drink the raw milk?
That's wild.
Yep. So the Idaho pasture pigs, we went out there the first night, and they loved the milk. Like, we opened it up, and they just, like, went crazy. Because the lady we got them from would get goat whey milk, or goat whey, from a local dairy. So they just opened up the little glass we had of it, and their noses just went crazy, and they're like, yep, thank you very much.
That's awesome, man.
Yep. So we're excited.
Yeah.
It's always a good day to get pigs.
Yeah. A lot later than normal for us. We usually have them Mother's Day weekend, I feel like, is like the weekend we've been picking up pigs for the longest time, for probably like 4 or 5 years. And then this year I found 3 breeders. They're not weren't really local, but like the closest ones. The one we found that was the closest, they had them the earliest, but they had ones that had retained testicles, and I was like, no, like, I don't want to pass that trade on. So we refused to get those. And then the other person that was the next closest, they weren't going to have the piglets ready till July. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to wait till July. So we ended up driving 3 hours to Maine to get them. So that was a long day. We drove there, picked them up, and then drove home.
So the meat ones, they're going to be ready this winter?
Yeah, they'll be ready, what do I figure, like December, January.
Cool. Yeah. That's good.
Yep. When we were driving, we were in Maine, we were near Augusta. And Gina was like, hey, somebody over there, I think they put their window down. I think they know us. So I waved to them, and then we got to a stoplight. I put the window down, and it was a viewer. That doesn't happen very often because we live out in the country, so it's kind of, it was interesting.
They spotted you driving?
What's that?
They spotted you driving?
Yeah, so I got a logo on my back window that says Lemon Acres. It's like the old T-shirt logo we used to have. Okay. It's on the back window, so they must have spotted that. But you had the logo, and then you had a crate like right next to it, so you couldn't see the whole logo. So they really had to be searching.
That's cool.
So I put the window down, talked to him for a few minutes while we were at a stoplight.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
It's always fun meeting people.
Yeah, meeting people out in the wild.
Yep.
It's pretty cool.
I don't think it happens as often just because we live rural. Like you guys, I'm sure you don't run into people that often.
Usually at Lowe's.
Yeah, usually at Lowe's.
Yeah. Lowe's, Home Depot.
Or Tractor Supply.
Yep. I don't run into many people at Tractor Supply.
No.
No.
Once in a while, a grocery store. I guess that's all we go to.
Those are the 3 places.
We have another local.
Yeah, that's it.
Right. What else do you need?
I know. Well, in line at McDonald's. No, I'm not supposed to say that.
Right. So especially I would say with doing the water lines and like having George die, and then just a lot of things, like kind of, it's been rough. It's not like bad, but just rough. And then I was listening to, I don't remember who it even was or what I was watching, and they were at visit somebody. They were just 2 farmers talking, and both of their farms had been around for like 200 years. So, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? There's a lot of farms out there that are established, and they've been there for a long time. So it's like for anybody who's starting out, it's like when you look at other people's like farms that have been going for a while, it's like, yeah, they've had years and hundreds and decades to build those. When you're just trying to start something out, it takes time.
Yeah. Oh, right. I mean, that's great grandpa starting it,
Yeah, probably great grandpa.
Yeah.
I mean, 200 years, that's probably, what, 3-4 generations?
Yeah, it's just so crazy to think about.
Right. It's pretty cool that a piece of property's been in somebody's family for that long. Like, and then every generation, like, just keeps redoing something and passing it to the next generation, which is pretty cool.
Don't be the one to lose the farm.
Right.
No pressure.
No pressure. None at all.
But it's been around for 200 years.
I actually know someone who they were living on the family property before they got it. It was, their dads, their grandpas, yada, yada. And their deed that they had on their land, there was their name and then the railroad, and then it was a U.S. territory. So they were the third owners.
Wow.
Like that, that property had been in their family for a very, very long time. I thought that was kind of cool. But they sold it and moved out of state, so they were that family.
They're like, oh, we're out.
We're out.
It ends here. Yeah, we're selling out. Yeah, it's got to be tough.
I'm sure taxes is got to be a big one for these big old farms that people have nowadays. Just trying to make a living and then pay your property tax.
Oh, yeah. And you got to want to do it. What if you don't want to do it?
Right.
I mean, you'll be miserable.
So it's been cooler here this week. I've been enjoying the weather. I don't know about you guys, if it's warmer there or cooler there, but
it's been real nice and cool here.
It's been warm.
We've enjoyed it.
It's been cool there. It's been warm here.
Well, I mean, warm, but compared to like, what was it, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, it was like 85. This week it's only been 80. So I've been loving it. Like, it's been decent.
Yeah. I mean, the mornings and the evenings is really nice.
Yep.
But I don't know. I was just doing nighttime chores and I was sweating to death. But
I mean, I sweat all the time anyways, so that's just a way of life around here.
But it's supposed to get hotter this weekend in the 90s, what I hear.
Yep.
Has it been wet? Like, will the grass and the pastures start growing good? Like, with a little bit of heat, or has it been really dry?
It's been pretty dry. We had a little bit of rain a couple days ago, but usually in June we get kind of like a drought. It doesn't rain much in June, but it makes up for it in July. Usually July we get absolutely hammered.
Yep.
I mean, my 1,000-gallon rain tank, I'm starting to notice that's going to be my weather for my rain gauge.
Right.
Where it's just under, I think, 800 gallons.
Okay.
Which it was full at one point. Yep. So, slowly it's going down a little bit.
What do you use that for? Because I know now you have your water out to the high tunnel. So what's the 1,000-gallon tank used for?
That one I'm mainly using that for our meat chickens.
Okay.
And our 4 older Cooney pigs.
Gotcha. So they've gone through 200 gallons so far?
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah, at least that. It hadn't rained. I mean, it rained a little bit, but not a whole lot. But so, how about you, Ben? What you been up to this week?
Man, it's been a busy week. So we're recording this a couple days later than we usually do. So it's kind of like you get to hear stuff from this week that
right.
Think about it that way.
It meshes.
It kind of
together. So it's been like a week and a half now.
Yeah, it's like a week and a half update. So I'm like, I'm omitting things from my list. It's like, that's old news. That's a week and a half ago. So like, I actually wrote a list because I sat down Sunday and it was like, I need to remember what I did this week for the podcast because I know I'm going to forget. And now looking at my list, it's like, who cares? But I'll talk about stuff anyways. So we are like headed full on into berry season, and I love it. I think one of our videos we did last week, we talked about harvesting blueberries. We harvested, I don't know, that we kept probably about a half a gallon that we put in the freezer. And the rest just get consumed. They don't make it to the freezer. Well, now raspberries are coming in. They're going crazy. And I'm noticing the wild blackberries, which I love the blackberries around here. They're some of the best blackberries. Those are starting to come in. So summer is here. When the blackberries start hitting, summer's here. On the note of summer, I talked about it in the last podcast. I asked for help from the internet, which can be a very dangerous game. So I would like to report. Thank you to all the people that emailed. I actually got a lot of times. I don't know. It's like the zeitgeist. Like everybody's thinking about the same thing, so you get a whole bunch of emails, and it's almost like a copy and paste because they're so similar. But there's quite a few people that said to try spinosad. It's a bacteria that kills bugs. The stuff I got was called Captain Jack's Dead Bug or something like that. That stuff works. It's an organic bug killer, basically. It's using biological warfare to kill bugs. I've tried everything on these darn squash bugs, and so far this is the only thing that works. So I'm super happy. I got a bottle, mixed it up, went out there, sprayed all the squash bugs, and I came out the next day and there's a whole bunch of dead ones. So that's cool.
Nice.
I think there's one more thing I can try if that doesn't work, and it's called kaolin clay. It's kind of like DE, I guess. It's a clay, and you spray it. You mix it up, make like a slurry, I guess, and you spray that, and that's supposed to stick to the bugs, and it'll cut them up and kill them. But I haven't tried that yet, so we'll see.
What was the one you got? What was the name of it?
It was called Captain Jack's Dead Bug. You can find it on Amazon. They sell it at Home Depot, I think. I've seen it before. Now that I have a bottle, I was like, I've seen this before. So yeah, it's called spinosad, spinosyd, something like that. It's kind of cool. I guess they found someone discovered a bacteria in like the Caribbean or something like that on like an island. Huh. I think it was in a rum distillery or something like that. And so it's just like this unique bacteria that nobody's ever heard of. And someone was like, hey, let's spray it on the bugs and see if they like it.
Captain Jack's stash.
Yeah. Kind of makes you wonder. It's like, wait, it was in like a rum distillery? What kind of evil bacteria is this that like it likes rum? Oh, it's a pirate bacteria. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, it feels like I'm starting to win the war against the squash bugs. I'm super stoked about that. I actually feel like I can grow pumpkins now. Other news. So Sunday, I walked out and we've got our guinea hog breeders, and they're like getting really close to farrowing. And so I've been watching, making sure they have stuff to nest with. Went out Sunday, and one of the mamas had farrowed. Not anywhere where the hay I gave her was. She farrowed in the entire opposite side of the pen. I think she had 7 babies. I think it was 2 girls, and the rest are boys. Which, yay! My favorite, our favorite homestead job in the world, castrating pigs.
Yes.
So,
yes. You're going to be a pro here in a minute.
Man.
You're already pro, Ben.
Not that I want to be. It's 5 boys, 2 girls.
You need to call Jason because he needs to become a pro after. He wants to help.
Yeah. You need to do it with one hand. So had all them. This morning I went out to feed the pigs, and surprisingly, like, I'm always gun shy. Like, we've had, we expect loss. We expect maybe one of those babies will get laid on by the mama or stepped on, and so it's always, I kind of go out there every morning bracing myself to find a dead piglet, and we haven't. Like, so far it's been great. Nobody's gotten squished. So I go out there this morning to feed, and I like
The mama who had the babies is running up to the fence ready to eat. There's Mo, the boar, and I don't see the other mama. I was like, I bet you she's up there in the house having her babies. And so where I pulled up the golf cart, I could actually see into the house. And sure enough, she was like in the act of giving birth right when I pulled up. So went out there after breakfast, and she had 8 of them. So she only had 1 girl, and the rest are all boys. So we got a bunch of pigs to castrate. Not looking forward to that, but
wow,
it goes with the territory.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, Jason, if you want some practice,
you guys like a bunch of boys over there. Yeah.
Hey, in case you hadn't noticed, that's what we do in the Holler household. Boys are a thing around here.
Yeah.
Right.
I think so.
If I was closer, I'd come down and give you a hand, but
it's one of those things. It's that's like asking your friends to help you move. You know, you find out who your friends are when you say, "Hey, can you come help castrate pigs?" Like it's just not a real fun job. All right, so then
pig or
scald a pig, that's different. Like if you're scalding a pig, that means you're getting ready to either, butcher or you're gonna cook a whole pig. And that's a whole different ballgame. That's fun. That's a good time right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So today, actually, I didn't make a video about this just because it was going to be kind of a rushed thing, and I knew there was going to be several trips to Lowe's. So I didn't film this today. So the podcast will pretty much exclusively find out about it. Our pressure tank on our well went out, and like I've known it was going bad because like pressure's been kind of weird, and then the pump has had to run more often. Well, a couple weeks ago, I noticed like sitting in the house, if I'm sitting in the right spot in the house, I can actually hear when the well pump kicks on, and I'm listening to it, and it's like clicking on and clicking off, and so I timed it, and it was like every 15 seconds. Well, I get out and do my watering first thing in the morning, and so I was out yesterday morning, and I'm out there watering, and it's real quiet. It's first thing in the morning, and I can hear that well kicking on, and it's clicking off and on every 2 seconds. I was like, okay, we got a problem here. So ran out, got a pressure tank. I've got a pressure switch. I needed a new gauge anyways. So today I got to play well maintenance guy, which really wasn't a big deal, but it's kind of nerve-wracking, like shutting off your water and basically taking out everything that you had in place, so you are without water until you get everything fixed. I wasn't worried. Yeah, I wasn't worried about it. Like I went to Lowe's, got everything I thought I needed. I had glanced at the bottom of this pressure tank, and I could swear right there on the 90 that goes up into it, it said 1.5 inches. So I got 1.5 inch fittings to connect to that. I get home, go to screw in, a part, and it was 1.25 inches, not 1.5 inches. So I had to turn around and head right back to Lowe's, and actually, talked with the lady that I was doing the walk of shame. She's like, "Oh, plumbing, you'll be here again." So I actually didn't have to go back. I had got everything. I ended up having to reuse a part. Technically, I probably would have had to go back to Lowe's, but I was able to make it work with what I had. There was a fitting I needed. It was like a threaded bushing, and the one that I had pulled out of the threaded bushing box on the shelf, someone had put a unthreaded bushing in that hole, and it just happened to be the one that I pulled out, and I didn't double check it in the store. And so I get home and I go to grab my threaded bushing to attach the pressure switch to, and there's no threads in it. It was kind of my fault because I didn't double check in the store, but it's like that was the box I reached into. I expected the part to be the right part. So that was kind of a frustration, but I was able to use the old one, so it wasn't the end of the world. Yeah, got it all up and running, and man, we got a bigger tank. We got an 86-gallon tank, and the little one we had before.
What was it before?
20 gallon.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
you have to do anything different with that, like, or you just switch it out?
Just switch it out. So this thing fills up, and then we've got a lot of water. Like, we've been going to do this for a while, because if the power goes out and I don't want to bust out the generator, then really we only had enough water for 2 toilet flushes kind of deal. And now, honestly, once that thing is filled up, we could probably do a load of dishes before it runs out. Like, it's so much water. So that's been really cool. So I got that all wrapped up. I don't know, maybe by like 2:00 today. So I was doing pretty good. It didn't take the whole day, but it took a lot of the day. Yeah, that's more or less my week in a nutshell. Jason knows all about messing with wells.
Oh yeah, I love messing with wells.
I wonder if you'll see your electrical bill go down, where your well pump will be kicking on less.
Probably. Just like I walked over there and was watching it while the boys were doing dishes after dinner tonight, and it's not sitting there running. It'll kick on. It runs for about a minute, and then it shuts off, and you can sit there for 5-10 minutes, and they're just sitting there doing dishes, running the water almost the whole time. So yeah, I imagine our power bill will go down. So I guess one other thing, what do you do for your AC, your central heating or whatever? Do you use mini splits in your house, or did you get a central system, Al?
We don't have one.
You don't have one?
You don't have AC?
You just don't worry about it?
We don't have. I want to get mini splits. I haven't installed any yet. We just have like one of those like units you stick in the window, or you stick like the vent out the window, and it's like a roller one.
Yeah.
It doesn't do a very good job, but that's all we have in the bedroom. We don't have anything downstairs. So we need to add some mini splits. Trying to figure out what I want to do. And I think at first the big thing for us was being all off grid. It was kind of like, I don't know how much we can do, but now living there for as long as we have, it's like, in the summertime, it's kind of like turn all the lights on, like by like 11 o'clock where our batteries are filled up. So it's like we have a bunch of our solar panels just shut off. So it's like, well, what can we do to burn energy? So now I'm like, yeah, we need to put mini splits in. I mean, I could put air conditioning in. I could probably get it down to 60 degrees every day, and it wouldn't cost anything.
Wow.
So do you not like the brand you have, Ben? Are you just looking to change up when you do the addition? Or?
No, I might stick with the brand. My only complaint, we use Pioneer. Got them in 2020. And they were something we could order. We could get the pre-charged line set. So all you have to do is you just need a vacuum. So you install the thing, vacuum the line, and then once you know you don't have any leaks, you just turn on the refrigerant and you're ready to go. I would say the only problem we've had is the blower motors, and 2 of them have gone out. Not gone out. They get noisy. And so I've already replaced the one in the kitchen, and I have the blower motor for the one in the bedroom on order, but everything's back ordered. So I'm just like sitting here waiting. Well, it's probably been about 2 weeks now. The PCB in the unit in the kitchen went out, and it's the PCB in the outside unit. And it's kind of a frustrating thing the way it went out. So basically the cover where all of the electronic, all of the wires come into the outside unit, rather than having like a drip edge on the cover, it's just got a gasket. Well, that gasket, we've had that thing sitting out there for 4 years now. That gasket finally deteriorated, and it allowed water to start seeping in to the thing, which not a big deal because of where it's at, but I guess we had a thunderstorm and we were getting sideways rain, and the next day we got up and the PCB was fried. So apparently, because that gasket went bad, and there was no way I could have caught that. You're not going to go open the electric, where the utilities come in on your mini split and check that as part of maintenance. So kind of a design flaw, if you ask me. But so yeah, now I've got a PCB that I have to replace. That's the computer board that runs the outside unit. That's back ordered too. So we haven't had an AC in the kitchen for a couple weeks now, and it's been fine. All we do is just open the 2 bedroom doors, and it'll cool it down to 70 degrees in here really easy. They work so quick and they're so quiet. I love them. But to do it over again,
now, how many units do you have?
We have 3 of them, 1 in each bedroom and then one in the kitchen. And actually, when we were building this place, the first one we put in was in our bedroom because we kind of finished from that end and worked down the mobile home. Well, when I was in here doing insulation, I finished out our bedroom first and then got everything closed up, and I would turn that thing on and it would cool this entire space down to maybe like 75, 80 degrees in the middle of summer with no insulation in half of it. So, you know, as I'm working my way down, insulating this structure, it got real nice in here to work in the middle of summer because 1 unit is powerful enough to cool this whole space.
Are they 110 volts or are they 220 units?
You can get either. We have 220.
You have 220.
From what I'd read, the 220 are a lot more efficient. But I mean, you can get either. That's just one of those things. If you're going to get mini splits, just do your research and keep like parts in mind when you buy. Check, you know, see if you can find parts for them. Pioneer has a pretty good customer service. But like I said, everything's back ordered. So it is what it is.
Yep.
I don't know. To do it over again, I might get like a Mitsubishi or a Mr. Cool or something like that. But, you know, just known name brands, some brand recognition, I guess. But I mean, other than the blower motors going out, and not even going out, they didn't break. They just got noisy. I got tired of listening to it. Other than that, they've been awesome. Like, they've been awesome. We were butchering a pig in here in the kitchen, you know, 2 years ago, and I cranked all of them down to, they go down to 58 degrees or something like that. And it got cold in here. You could see your breath. So, like, they work really, really good.
That's cool.
All right, what about you, Jason? You got anything interesting?
Yeah, I got some interesting stuff. So, beginning of the week. So I don't know how I'm gonna do this in a video. I've been trying to think about it because I really didn't film much, but I officially have no more sheep. So on the beginning of the week, you know, every morning since I lost the 2 sheep, right? They got tangled in the netting. Every morning since then, I get up in the morning and I go straight to the sheep because I'm like, how did the sheep do last night? You know, I'm all paranoid about it, that they're going to get tangled again or something's going to happen. And so they've been fine ever since those 2 died. And I went this week out there, checked on my sheep, and one of them was tangled in the net again, dead.
Ugh.
And it was the bigger one of the 2. So in my mind, I was like, okay, if this happened again, that means I only have 1. Like, I can't just keep just one, you know, you need 2 at least. And so I was like, what am I going to do? I got to butcher it, right? Like, I'm just going to keep 1. And it's not like I could like go to Walmart and go pick up another sheep. So I didn't know what to do. I was like, the sheep stayed in the area, you know, it didn't take off. Which easily could have done that, but it didn't. And you know, of course, it was you know, crying out for the other one, you know. And I was like, dang it! It's like, I don't know what to do. So, at first I was like, okay, I'm just gonna butcher him. But he was just so little that I was like, man, is it even worth it? I might get like 15 pounds of meat, maybe. So then I called the farmer friends that I purchased the sheep from. And I asked them, would you willing to buy the sheep back, the live one? So they didn't have to do it, but they were like, okay, we will. You know, we'll buy them back from you. You know, they didn't have to do that, but, you know, they milk sheep. That's what they do. They didn't have more sheep for me to buy,
right?
Because they're keeping them all, but they were willing to buy that one back, and so I ended up. It took a while because this sheep is so dang scared of me and skittish that we ended up. It took all three of us to put them in a chicken tractor, because I was like, I don't want, because it kept on, you could tell it was looking for the other sheep, and I was like, what I don't want is to like try to go through the netting again, get tangled, and I can't be sitting here watching the sheep all day. So we ended up putting it. It took like 30 minutes, but we put it in the chicken tractor, and then later on that evening, we put it in a dog crate and took it to the farm, and they bought it for me. So I was like, all right, well, that was fun. Now it's done.
That's a bummer, man.
So I didn't even bother. Trying to save the meat on the one that died.
That sucks.
Because I felt like it was very bloated.
Yep.
And I was just like, it's like, forget it. I'm done. I was just kind of like over it. Like I didn't even want to film it. I was just, I filmed a little bit of it. But honestly, I just didn't even know what to say. I'm just like,
speechless.
I'm done. I was like, I don't think we're discouraged on raising sheep again, but I am discouraged of those nettings.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So I need to rethink how if we do get sheep again, how I'm gonna do that. Probably with single wires or something, but probably not with the netting.
We let our sheep free range, so we had two. The first one died. I think it was like the second day we had it, but from worms. And then the other one got stuck in the net, I'd say 3 or 4 times, but she didn't die from it. But after that, we were just kind of like, we just let her free range the property. We were just discouraged with the netting. Like they were always on, and she would just run right through them. You'd see her out there, and her head was stuck in it. I was like,
was it during the day?
Yep.
She would do that?
I think one morning I might have gone out, and she was in it, so I don't know how long she'd been in it. She didn't die, but she was just stuck in it. I think that was the last. I think after that, I was just like, nope. And we took the fence down. We just let her free range, and that's kind of like so. Like our goats and then the sheep, they just free range and the goats still do, just because they free range with the sheep, so now they won't stay in any fence. But
yeah,
one of those things. Like we didn't have luck with the poultry netting with sheep.
Yeah, so I am discouraged with that because you don't really hear. I don't know. I have a couple sheep books that I bought, right? Like how to raise sheep, how to do it on pasture and all that stuff. And in the books, they're like, they don't say anything about the sheep getting tangled in netting. They use the netting. Like the only reason why they stopped using the netting because the netting's so darn expensive that they have a big flock, so they're not going to buy a bunch of nettings. They're just going to raise them in the single wires. But they not one of them mentioned of getting tangled in a net. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think it's more common than what we think.
Yep.
I mean, heck, man, it happened to me 3 times in like a month. I only had them maybe a month.
Yep. I felt like the sheep were harder to keep in than the goats. The goats won't stay in the electric fence now because the sheep that's what it was. We put the sheep in with the goats with the straight electrical fence, and that used to always keep the goats in. Well, the sheep just decided she was going to walk through it, and it never kept her in. And then she taught the goats to get out. But now the goats, they don't stay in the electric fence. They're just free range, but they stay right around. So it's right now it's like we have free range goats. It's no big deal. They go wherever they want. They don't come to the house. They just stay out in the pastures and go to the barns at night.
Are they fenced in at all?
No. I mean, when they're behind the fence, they're fenced in, but a lot of the times they're just out roaming.
And I guess no predator is going to get them?
I mean, at night they go into the barn and they're in the fence at night because they go back into the barn.
They go back into the barn.
They go back in. But when they want out, they just walk through it and it's electrified. And the sheep taught them how to do that. So I don't know if sheep, like, because the wool, like, they're not as susceptible to getting shocked, only on the nose. Yeah. I don't know. But we never had an issue with the goats until we got the sheep.
I see. But, yeah.
Jason, you'll just have to build a big ram pan or something like that.
Yeah, I know. I thought about that too. Yeah, maybe I'll do something like that. I don't know. I was like, forget it. Let's just stick with pigs and chickens.
Yep.
So I don't know. There was like nothing to say. I was like, all right,
Yeah, that sucks.
We tried it. Now we gotta recoup and figure it out how we want to go forward. But we're not discouraged of getting them. We liked them. I mean, they were neat and fun to look at. But what else? That was the big one this week. Yeah, I know. Sucked. So we had speaking of well water. This week one of the days. It was in the evening. I was doing evening chores. Lorraine comes running out of the house. She's like, "There's no water in the house," and I was like, "Oh, geez." So right away in my head, I'm thinking like, okay, drip irrigation I just put in. I just trenched this new line. I'm looking at the trenched line. I'm like, do I see any water? Like, I'm picturing like leaks on the connections that I did. And, I'm expecting the worst. I looked at the drip irrigation. We're checking up all the hydrants. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then we go on, we didn't notice anything. We go back in the house. I mean, we're checking up everything. And then I go to the well pump. And the pressure switch cover, I take the cover off, and there's a little tiny dead bug where the connections are that automatically connect so that way it turns on the pressure tank. It was in the way. The little bug was in the way. And then I got a stick. I just knocked it out of the way. And as soon as I knocked it out of the way, boom, it kicked on.
There's a bug in the system.
I know. I was like, oh my gosh.
Man.
I was like, we need to come up with like a checklist of things.
Right.
Like, if the water goes out, check this. Yeah, I know. Like, with everything, like a checklist. Okay, check this. Because I might forget, like, hey, there might be a bug.
We'll write the Homestead Handbook. And then when someone gets into homesteading, you can write, here's a copy. This is how to, be self-sufficient.
Yes. Troubleshoot everything. Yeah. Check this. If not that, check this.
It even could be a dead bug.
Yeah.
Christ.
If none of those work, well, you better start praying. So yeah, I think that was about it. I mean, we just got I did a drip irrigation video. So that's been working pretty good. With a timer. It's really nice, man.
That's the way to go.
I know. I want to do all the garden areas with a timer. That'd be awesome. It just helps so much.
Makes your life easy.
It'd be cool. I know. It'd be cool if all the animals were on a water timer. Everybody's on a water timer. Just fills up their cup.
Hey, I was at the Habitat Restore, and I saw, like, I used to put in irrigation systems all the time, and I saw there was a Rainbird sprinkler timer, and I was looking at it, and it looked kind of weird. And it was brand new in the box. And on the box, it says it's all Wi-Fi controlled. And I was like, man, the times are changing. Like, can you imagine turning on your sprinklers with your phone, like from the house or from, wherever you're out of town? Like, you, instead of putting a sprinkler on a valve, you just plumb that valve to where it's on like your animal's water bowl. And then you could just turn the valve on, fill up the animal's water, turn it off. Like, like it kind of got me thinking. It's like, well, like, I don't need sprinklers out here, but man, that would be kind of handy for animal water. Like, every morning it just turns on at, 6:30 in the morning, runs for, 2 minutes and turns off. Like be pretty cool.
And then you can just turn it on and off with your phone if you're out there.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they need water here. Boop, boop, boop.
Yeah. Like right now, like, I know the pigs in middle of the day, they knock over their bowl of water or whatever, hook it up to a 55-gallon barrel,
Right.
with the hose, with the timer on it, and then it's on your phone. You just like give them water.
That'd be
On
pretty
paper,
cool.
it sounds nice.
Yeah, it does.
I don't know.
Talking about rainbirds and phones, I'm probably going to get ads next time I pick up my phone. It's going to be, oh, here's some rainbird equipment.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I was just talking about it.
Or if we didn't move all the animals around, like if they're all in one spot, then I could see that working for sure.
Yep.
But moving them around makes it tricky.
Yeah.
But it makes you think, though. There's got to be a way.
How often?
Feed, I don't know. Feeding might be tricky, but maybe water. I don't know. But you got to go out there. You can't be totally
hands off.
Set it and forget it with the animals.
Yeah, that's the truth.
It's probably not what you want to do. Yeah.
Yep.
There's something to be said about training them with a bucket, and they're used to you, and you're out there, and you're looking at them, you're seeing what's wrong with them, or seeing how good they're doing, being observant.
Yep.
It can't be totally hands off. As good as it sounds. But
I saw an ad or something somewhere that somebody's working on AI technology to keep an eye on the cow herds, so they can see like if there's a cow that's sick, or if there's a cow that'll like, that's the only thing that'll be like hands off. Like you're just going to rely on a computer system keeping an eye on your herd to see if something's up with it, or if it's limping, or if I don't know how they're going to tell if it's sick or not. But it's like,
wow.
Back to the whole like moving animals thing. What they don't tell you with a lot of those AI systems is that's the CAFO system. That's are they really going to have cameras and all sorts of stuff out on the 1,000-acre ranch with all the cattle? I doubt it.
Right. Yeah.
It's like I could see
somebody's going to be sitting in front of his computer.
Yeah.
He's not going to be sitting outside getting sunburnt. He's going to be inside an air conditioning office looking.
Staring at a computer screen, monitoring his herd. Yep.
I don't know, maybe. But yeah, that's about it.
How often do you have to move the coonies?
I move them once a week.
Once a week. Okay.
Yeah. Depending on how the grass is. Like this week I actually moved them. They were in one spot for 4 days.
Yep.
Because the grass was like really bad. It was kind of dirt anyways, so I moved them once a week.
What do you find? What do you find the benefits of having them on pasture are to the pasture?
The benefits for the pasture?
Yeah.
Well, they do fertilize, even though it's in one spot.
Right.
You can tell the greenery. And they don't root, which I think is good for the pasture, but I would say, they mow down a certain area. I mean, they don't, it's not like a lawnmower, but they pick and choose what they eat. Other than that, I don't know.
Like, can you tell year over year, like, oh, last year I had the pigs there. They made the pasture look better. Like, like meat birds, you're like, oh, you can tell, like the meat birds were here kind of thing.
Well, I think the meat birds I think they improve the pasture a lot better than the pigs do.
Yep.
Because I don't know, maybe because it's more even, like they're in the coop and their manure is like,
right.
You could see it. It's a square.
Yep.
And then you can see the movement. But with pigs, they're like pile of poop in one spot, and then that's super green in that spot, and then the rest isn't. But I don't know. I don't say like, hey, the pigs are over. The pigs were there last year, and
right.
It looks this way now. Like I can't tell. Well, I'm hoping, if anything, it's just producing a better tasting pig.
Right. And you're not getting the moonscaping, whatever you want to call it, from if you had like full-size heritage breeds out there on pasture would be destroyed.
Of course, if you leave them in one spot for a long time, they will eventually turn it to that.
Right.
They gotta be there like months, and it has to rain, but
right.
It has to have the right mixture, and then it will turn into a moonscape. But yeah, for the most part, they're not like feeder pigs. I'm wondering if those Idaho pasture pigs will root at all.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to watch them for sure. It'll be interesting to see how fussy they are. Like, do your pigs do they go after tall grass? Do they like short grass, medium length grass, or have you noticed?
They kind of go after the tall grass. I guess depending on what it is.
Okay.
You see them like, trying to reach up and grab it.
Yeah, they want the seed head maybe or something.
Yeah, like they'll like the goldenrod. They love the goldenrod.
Okay.
They eat the goldenrod?
Which is tall. Yeah, it's tall.
Yeah.
And they'll go after tall grasses, but of course they'll eat the small grasses too. It kind of depends. Like the leaves on the blackberries, they'll eat those.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, pretty much anything that's green. If I leave them in a spot for a good week, that spot is kind of all brown if it hasn't rained. Everything kind of turns brown, so maybe they eat all the green, and then everything else is kind of dead, I guess. I haven't really put them in the woods, so I'm not sure what they would do there. In our woods, there's a bunch of leaves, dead leaves,
right,
covered. So I don't know if they would. I mean, they could easily. I would think they could easily dig, the leaves. Kind of go in there.
Right.
I don't know if they would, so I don't know exactly what they'll do. I might try to put them in the woods this year, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll put ours in the woods this year or not. We definitely want to in the future. I just don't know how big they're going to get, how quick, if we'll be able to get the breeders in the woods before winter, or if it's, kind of.
Yeah, but our boar Zeke, man, he's so chill. He'll have a bowl of water there, sitting there for 3 days. It look like he hasn't even touched it.
He won't knock it over.
No, cool. Nothing. Even his, he's by himself, so he's he's not doing much. But even his area, it doesn't look like I'll leave him in there for 2-3 weeks, and it still looks like I just moved him there.
Yep.
He doesn't do it. He doesn't do anything. He's just super calm.
I've been around that boar. He's a very respectable boar. He's proper.
Very proper.
Yeah. Yeah, he should be wearing a monocle and a top hat or something. Because he's just he's super polite. Yeah.
That's funny. How much grain do you feed him?
I feed him half a cup a day.
Half a cup a day. Once a day? Or do you split it up?
Once a day, twice a day.
Twice a day, half a cup, or twice a day, a quarter cup?
Half a cup twice a day.
Okay, so he gets a cup of grain. Yeah, that's not much.
Yeah, about a cup. Yeah.
About a cup.
In the winter, I give him a little bit more, everybody, because there's less to eat. But...
Right. Do you give him hay at all during the winter when there's not much grass? Or
I do give him hay in their bedding, and I think they do eat some, but they're not devouring it.
No.
Because I give them grain.
Right. We put second cut hay. We used second cut hay for bedding in the kennel when we went and picked them up, and they didn't do anything on it. So we put that in the stall when we got them home, and they pretty much, I think we had 3 or 4 flakes of second cut hay. There's still some hay in the pen, but the majority of it was eaten by them, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll move them around this winter. I'm debating of building something to just leave them in, kind of move them in and out of that, I think.
Yep.
To collect some compost and see what that does, or see how they do doing that.
Right.
Because there's nothing them to eat anyways.
Right.
They'd probably find more stuff in the wood chips than anything.
Yeah, and they probably like that. Or if you put them in the woods, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, so when this podcast comes out, I'll be doing 2 workshops. So I got my workshops this weekend. Right. Chicken workshops. In the 90-degree heat.
Oof.
Well, it's going to be in the morning, so maybe it won't be bad.
Right. You got, what, 10 or 12 people per?
This time we have about 7 per.
7 per
class.
Yep. Hopefully they're ready for the heat.
Yeah, should be fun.
It's always a fun day.
Yeah. Maybe I'll tell them to clean up this time.
Then you can take them for ice cream.
Yeah, there you go. But all right, we'll end it there. I appreciate everyone listening and watching this podcast, and thank you guys so much for being there. And hopefully everyone has an awesome week, and we'll see you guys next week.
Have a good week, guys.
Later, everybody.